Welcome, I am Andre Faust, and this is none other than...
I'm blogger Charles Leblanc.
Of course, nobody knows who you are.
Of course not, but we're trying something different here. It's, how long? By the way, I know, Mike, we gotta give a little, yes, John, it is us, and we are, John, we are, so.
You know, I gotta plant one right there, right there in the cheek.
Archie Bunker and Sammy Davis Jr., the kiss of the century. Anyway, we tried, how long have you been an activist?
I can't recall. It goes way, way back. I was a young fella, and
That's 100 years.
Yeah, it was 100 years.
Filthy sneakers. Smelly socks.
I was with the Student Democratic Students for Democracy.
Yeah, and the long hair.
The long hair.
And me, I've been 15 years.
I mean, I've even met Abby Hoffman.
Oh yes.
And that, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King.
Yeah, we all did, and we tried.
The Detroit riots.
Yes, and we tried to, as a blogger, put my jacket on, blogger, journalist, and you know what? We never succeeded, but we tried, we brought the issue to light, so we're trying something new here. Maybe the elitists or the government will pay attention to our concern. Do you think it's going to work?
Not today, but tomorrow it will.
We'll give it a shot. Anyway, everybody knows, anybody doesn't know, go to YouTube, write Edmundston Police, and you'll see a video. Edmundston Police and Charles Leblanc. Then you've seen the video that I was arrested on November 8, 2016. And that was pretty scary, if you look at that video.
Oh, looking at the video, the time didn't know, it was just a video, and, two lowbrow knuckle draggers are grabbing you and trying to tear you away from the street.
And then you have two cops from Edmundston grab me near the legislator. And it was scary.
Yeah, well, at the time you didn't know.
No, I could have took a stroke. And thank God I didn't hit anyone. But with this suit on, we don't talk about violence. We're here as professional hosts of trying to educate the public on what's going on here. Now, the assault, it was dropped. They investigated. They want to charge me under Criminal Code 300. That's 5 years in jail. They raided my place in 2012 under 301. That's 2 years in jail. And the prosecutor, they took an outside prosecutor, and they said it wasn't enough. It didn't serve the public to drag my ass in court. So they dropped the case. Was that a surprise?
The 301 or the 300?
The 300.
The 300. No, really it wasn't a surprise. Because it was becoming too obvious that this was, we couldn't get him using this angle, we'll try another angle. It was too obvious.
So a lot of people are asking me, okay, what's going on? It's going to be in the Irving paper tomorrow, and there was a story on CBC. And CBC, they did okay, but there's a lot of issues here that's going on. Like the Irving media tomorrow is going to be there, a short story. I already seen it on the website. And the chief of police is saying, we're extending an olive branch to Mr. Leblanc. Leanne Fitch is saying an olive branch to Mr. Leblanc. What does that mean?
My interpretation is that, I think, she's, I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt that she's honestly trying to reach out and say, let's get a dialogue going here. Let's patch things up and let's be buddies again. We'll get you back on our media list. That's how I interpret that.
Well, what I would love, I think the only way to have communication between myself and Fredericton Police Force is to set up a guillotine at Officer Square and have 6 cops on it and move on and make this city a beautiful city to live in. What do you think about that one?
Boys, you kind of remind me of my great uncle. His name was Genghis Khan.
Better not,
Related to Attila the Hun.
I better not wish for a guillotine because they'll use it on me. I'll be the first one on it. But I'm being sarcastic. We don't believe in violence. But I mean, what do
This
you
is
do?
tongue in cheek.
Yes, of course it is. That's why we're going to get another Section 300 charge after this interview is posted. Maybe there'll be two for the price of one.
But that means that I'd have to walk in court, my ankle shackled to your ankle, and my wrist shackled
Oh,
to
yes,
your
no,
ankle.
no problem at all. No, but
In
seriously,
the orange suits.
yeah. How do you communicate? There's no orange shoot here. That's the States. How do you communicate? See, like people think, like the chief of police Edmiston say, this is the end of the road for us.
In what
Now-
context do they mean that? Do they mean they're not going to investigate it,
For
or
them, they tried.
are they going to walk away from the memorandum of agreement that they have between them and the city police? Like, I mean, what does that mean? I don't know that.
And the police commission is is launching an investigation. There is going to be, I don't know how it's going to go. It's going to be a hearing, and the two cops, a hearing will find out. We don't know what's the procedure. We're going to get all the police from the Fredericton Police Force who contacted the Edmonton Police, because the Edmonton Police worked on this case for 2 years. And also, I put an assault charge against 2 members of the Edmonton Police. So to say this is the end of the road, as they see it, I don't think so.
Well, that's relative to their perspective or perception. They probably would like it to be the end of the road, but they fail to take one thing into account: your perception. And with you, it's not over. You know, I mean, it's obvious that there's a law of attrition going on between you and the police, and yeah. You know, this is going to go on, and the cash register is going to go clink, 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 clink. Meanwhile, money's going to be funneling out of the taxpayers.
Taxpayer's pocket. I think what's going to happen is, with this?
That's a killer cat.
Is it killer cat? A black cat at that? Is that
black
bad
cat.
luck? Maybe we should stop right. That's it. You don't go by.
Maybe I should roll them up
Message.
and smoke 'em.
Yeah, really. Look at that black cat. You always got black cats around. But anyway, it's okay. Like we don't have glass, we have a bottle of water. But that's okay. Sorry, I got distracted. The bottom line here, you see, and you were there, and I love you very much for showing up in that lawsuit that I had. I love a lot of people if they showed up and just. The lawsuit was denied. Of course, we know what happened. We can't go in details because the judge was very harsh against me in her decision, because I never said a word during the trial, because the reason I didn't say anything.
Well, we can't talk about it.
Yeah,
because-
yeah, that's true. Okay, so
Can't even give-
but she was then the CBC did the story and the verdict of the lawsuit, and they said in there, like they say, well, Charles Leblanc called Fred Oiseau a faggot. No, we're not faggots, but a faggot. Now, what the story is behind that, and we said earlier, en français, je suis acadien, je parle pas le langage de tapette de Québec.
Moi, je parle la langue de
Ouais,
tapette.
ça c'est le langage de tapette. John, ça c'est le langage de tapette de Québec. That means I don't speak that faggot language of that French language from Quebec. Je parle le chiac. I speak the chiac. I've been saying that for years. And I think we have problems with some cops. Big police force, there's bound to have cops that has mental issues.
Statistically, they have to be, because mental issues isn't selective. It involves X number percentage of the population, and that can be in the Irving firms, it could be at the local convenience store, it could be at the police station, it could even be in City Hall.
Oh yes, yes, City Hall. Michael Bryan comes to hand without even swearing. But how come we don't have media, a true investigating reporter? Which I did have a phone call from a producer of the Fifth Estate, CBC Fifth Estate, and he said, "Charles, I want to talk to you." Maybe, you know, and then they might come down in October. But we don't have, if someone did a true investigation, and as I always said, I'm sorry, Andre, I will say it again. If this is happening to me, what other person this is happening to that will never see the light of day in the media? That's scary.
You'll never know, and you can never find that information. Last fall, through the Rights of Information on a project on records of non-convictions that I've been working, I've submitted to all municipal police force, and one of my questions was addressing exactly that number, and the response that I got is that we do not keep record.
And we put access to information.
For you just recently on cost, on what's the total cost?
Can you imagine the, oh my God.
Now that
I can't count that high.
that request under the rights to information in your request, you asked from 2005 to the present,
2015.
and it was inclusive of everything, including the Bernard Bouchard report. We already know that was $48,000, but we want the numbers. You know, so no one can.
Will they give it to me?
Well, if they don't, it's going to show that they're working in bad faith.
Oh, they are working in bad faith.
Well, no, you can't say that before until they act in bad faith.
We have Michael Bryant, never mind. And let's not forget that idiotic so-called poet, Andrew Spencer. When he came and attacked me on the street, I defended myself. And look what happened there. We had like the trial of the century.
No, Andrew Spencer, what was interesting in the sense is that he became a pawn in this game. You know, poor old Andrew, he went in, and when he went in, here's what I visualized. Because at that time, the tensions between you and the city police was just like a high-strung elastic ready to break. Right? Here comes Andrew. He goes in, and from his point of view, he felt you did him injustice, and he executed his right. He lodged a complaint.
Yeah, all drunked up, and that. They told him to come the next day when he's sober. You know.
But can you imagine when that come in? Yes, we got a civilian who's putting a complaint against Charles.
High five,
happy dances, all those kind of things happen, and of course, history explains.
And I was found not guilty. So I put a complaint, 12-page complaint with the Attorney General. There's a lot, I haven't heard from them since because I got distracted from what happened in November by the two cars from Edmundston. But the bottom line, there's a lot of issues here that calls for a New Brunswick provincial inquiry.
Oh yes, and beyond your issues, the whole system has to be reevaluated. It's antiquated, it's obsolete, it needs modifications, and on that note, again, I guess I got to throw a little bit of a plug for Police Chief Fitch. I read her thesis, Reviving the Peeler, a nice piece of academic work, I have to say, and she's identified that police forces have to come to the time.
Oh, she did say that?
Yeah. No, like I say, her research work of 1995, academically, I was impressed.
Do we have a problem when you have a police force that insists of chasing people that's riding a bicycle with no helmet?
That no helmet thing.
No, but I mean,
in the scope of seriousness, that's like the difference between a fart and a diarrhea.
So leaving it at that, my name is Charles Leblanc.
Andre, until next time, take care.